or so ago, I showed you a plant. There were just two of them in that locale called Indian pipe. And I told you how I was shocked at how few there were in that site, with only two of them and spread apart. Well, I was just sitting on my commode a few minutes ago and spotted something. Let me show you what I had expected to see in that other locality. That is one clump, and that is another colony, both Indian pipe, that haven't quite come to fruition yet. They were buried under leaves that are just barely starting to poke out. And I come over here to see what I was looking at closer and uncovered them and thought I'd share it with you. Just so you know, that's where I was sitting, and over there is where I spotted them under the leaves. 20 feet away, and the colonies were just barely poking through the leaves. That's what they call a sharp eye, especially at my age. Well, good morning, my YouTubian friends. Earlier, I was sitting here on my commode, and I noticed something. Now, a while ago, I showed you a pair of Indian pipe plants. And I told you how odd it was that there were only two pipes, just two stalks, how they normally grow in colonies. Well, let me show you what I saw this morning. Okay. Let's see if I can get this in frame here. There we go. That's a colony of Indian pipe. And just over here, there's another colony of Indian pipe. And when I came to investigate them, I found this. A third colony of Indian pipe. Now this is the smallest of the three colonies. Just a minute, let me zoom back out. This is the largest of the three colonies here. And that over there is the medium size. This colony here, the largest one, probably has about, I'd say probably 35, maybe 40 pipes in it. The medium-sized colony over there's probably got 25 to 30, 35-ish. This small colony here probably has 10 or 15. And there may be more over in there. Now, the reason I noticed these is because I was looking over here at all of these little baby pines, and I was thinking, I want some pine needle tea. So when I got up and came over in here to investigate, I also found fatwood. Fatwood. I broke off a chunk because I wasn't sure that this was a pine. Now this particular piece is punkwood, but it smells like turpentine. So that means that's a pine stump. And since it smells like a turpentine and it's that rotted away, I mean, you can see the gap between the bark and where the stump itself is. That means this stump has been sitting here probably for 20 years. And when I sunk my axe in right there, that's still hard as a rock in the center. So I'm going to have to dig in here to find me some fatwood out of this. I can tell you from the bark, because the bark is still here, that this is not white pine. I'm probably betting this is going to be red pine. And I'm not sure which is better for fatwood in this area, white or red, but that's what we've got here. This is an ancient red pine that somebody cut down. Probably cut it down 30 years ago by the look of the rot around the stump. And I'll bet you that's almost all fatwood in there. Wowsy, wowsy, woo, woo. I mean, there's going to be some punk wood, but... And I'm going to have to end this here because I can hear my tea kettle starting to whistle to make my pine needle tea. Well, sorry about dropping the video partway through, but as I said, I mean, you can probably see it over there, my tea kettle sitting on the stove, and it was starting to whistle, and I had to come back and deal with my makings of pine needle tea, plus I had a pot of coffee already made that I wanted to get around to drinking. I was talking to you about Indian pipe, and I want to share with you that Indian pipe is such a rare thing that Dickens even thought it deserved to have a poem. White as Indian pipe, red as cardinal flower, fabulous as a moon at noon, February hour. Dickens. A lot of people refer to Indian pipe as a fungus. It's not. Indian pipe is actually a low-growing wild flower, has a single bloom at the top, and a very narrow stalk that's very brittle. Indian pipe is, and forgive me, I don't know the scientific name for it off the top of my head. I don't have my book with me to read from, so I'm doing this strictly from memory. Indian pipe is a saprophyte, I think that's the word for it. I'm not positive I'm saying it correct, but if you don't know what a saprophyte is, that should read parasite, because what Indian pipe does is it lives on the duff, the decaying leaf matter in a forest, as was evident by where it was growing. The duff in this vicinity where I'm camped out at is about 9 inches deep. I know that because I dug a hole to be used in conjunction with my commode. No, I didn't dig the hole where the commode is. The hole's about 100 yards over there. I have my commode is a, how do I want to put this? It's a composting toilet. Only instead of using pine sawdust, like a lot of people would in their homes with such a thing, I'm using the leaf matter from the floor of the forest. And I do my business, and then I put some more in on top of it, and do the business. And when I have a full bucket, I take it over to the hole and I dump it. And I throw some more leaf matter on top. Now, I've got a 3x3 hole dug, and it, with my particular disabilities, took me most of a day, work a little bit, sit down and rest, work a little bit, sit down and rest, to dig a 3x3 hole. I've been here a week, and I haven't even really made a dent in filling the hole yet, so that hole will last me quite some time, thankfully. Whether I'll need it to last that long or not, that's yet to be determined. But anyhow, saprophyte, Indian pipe, is generally speaking white, translucent. It's also referred to as ghost plant because of its lack of color, lack of green, because of its lack of chlorophyll. There's another name for it that they call it corpse plant, but I don't think that's quite fitting because there's actually a plant that grows down in the South American jungles that's referred to as corpse plant, and it actually smells like a decaying corpse. So why they would call this one corpse plant, other than the fact that it's pale white, like a dead body, I mean, that's the only part of it that would make that name fit. But like I say, the big takeaway here, folks, is that too many people think it's a fungus. It's not. It's actually a wildflower. Extremely rare, Yes. But a flower nonetheless, and should be appreciated as such. And because of its rarity, it should not be picked. As to its edibility, I'm dubious at best that it's edible. I've heard a couple people say it is. I've heard a lot of people say it's not. I've even heard one or two people say it's poisonous. This is one I could not say. Because when I was growing up, my grandmother taught me about Indian pipe, and all she said was, it's too rare to pick. Don't pick it, leave it be. Now, is there any other fact that would cause you not to pick it? I can't say. I just know what Grandma taught me. Don't pick it, it's rare. Apparently it produces a seed pod, and once it goes into seed, it turns black. This is probably part of why people think it's a fungus, because it goes from white to black, like many mushrooms funguses do. But it's not. So, and that's what I have for the moment. Peace out. I know there are two varieties of this fungus. This one is not turkey tail. This is another variety that grows similarly, and I forget what this one is called just off the top of my head. But there seems to be a pile of it back in here. And I haven't found any of the true turkey tail, which is more of a blue-gray in color. So, that's what else I found here. And I'll bring you back if I find anything else of interest. Well, here I am walking through the woods, and I found another colony of Indian pipe. And this one's a biggin'. And to give you some clue, here, let me put my cane down there beside of it to give you some sense of scale.
By the way, don't forget to